Welcome to the show. Today we're exploring the recent deployment and withdrawal of National Guard troops in Los Angeles, a response to widespread demonstrations. Can you help us understand why President Trump federalized zero California National Guard troops in the first place?
Absolutely. The decision was triggered by intense demonstrations tied to immigration enforcement actions across LA. Federal property and personnel needed protection, so up to zero troops were authorized. This mirrors past instances where the National Guard was used to maintain order during civil unrest.
That historical context is helpful. How does federalizing state troops differ from other emergency responses, say, in natural disasters?
Great question. Unlike disaster relief where the Guard aids in rescue and logistics, federalization shifts command to the president rather than the governor. The focus here was law enforcement, not humanitarian aid, which raised unique concerns among local leaders.
Let's dive into the community's reaction. LA Mayor Karen Bass publicly stated the troops were never needed and welcomed their withdrawal. Why do you think local officials push back so strongly?
Local leaders often fear that military presence can escalate tensions. Mayor Bass argued that soldiers are trained for combat, not community policing. When troops are seen on city streets, it can create an atmosphere of occupation rather than safety, fueling distrust.
Does research support the idea that militarized responses can backfire during civil demonstrations?
Yes. A 2018 Stanford study found that heavily militarized policing sometimes increases rather than decreases unrest. Community engagement and de-escalation tactics tend to yield better outcomes in urban protest scenarios.
A Pentagon spokesperson claimed the withdrawal is due to the success of the mission and a subsiding of lawlessness. How is mission success defined in these contexts?
Success is typically measured by reduced violence, fewer arrests, and restoration of public order. However, this can be subjective. For some, simple absence of chaos is success. For others, it's about healing community trust post-crisis.
In your experience, how do these metrics impact public perception of government action?
Perceptions vary. If residents feel safer and see less disruption, they might credit the intervention. But if they feel their rights were trampled or their voices ignored, it can spark longer-term resentment, regardless of official metrics.
You mentioned that soldiers are trained for combat, not community policing. Can you elaborate on the differences in training and mindset between National Guard troops and regular law enforcement?
Certainly. National Guard members are primarily prepared for battlefield scenarios, defense, attack, and logistics in hostile environments. Police, by contrast, train in de-escalation, conflict resolution, and local law. The skill sets don't always overlap seamlessly.
Is there any cross-training to prepare the Guard for these domestic roles?
Some specialized units receive crowd control training, but it's often insufficient. Imagine asking a firefighter to perform brain surgery. Both are lifesavers, but the expertise doesn't transfer directly.
This brings up the tension between civil liberties and security. How do authorities balance protecting property and lives with honoring constitutional rights during unrest?
It's a delicate balancing act. Authorities must protect public safety, but the First Amendment guarantees freedom of assembly and speech. Overly aggressive responses can suppress these rights, so ongoing training and oversight are essential.
Are there notable examples where this balance was achieved or failed?
The 2014 Ferguson protests saw both. Initial militarized responses inflamed tensions, but later, community-based policing helped de-escalate. It's a reminder that strategies must adapt to evolving circumstances.
Shifting gears, how do federal interventions compare to local responses during demonstrations? Is there evidence one is more effective than the other?
Local agencies often know their community's needs best and can act with nuance. Federal responses bring resources but can lack local context. A 2020 Brookings report found that cities resolving unrest through negotiation rather than force saw quicker returns to normalcy.
Are there risks in having both federal and local forces involved simultaneously?
Absolutely. Overlapping jurisdictions can cause confusion and mixed messaging, sometimes resulting in inconsistent enforcement or even accidental escalation.
Let's explore the long-term impacts. How does deploying the military in a city affect community trust in institutions over time?
Trust can erode if residents feel policed rather than protected. Studies from Rutgers show that communities subjected to military presence during unrest report lower civic engagement and less willingness to cooperate with authorities months later.
Are there ways to rebuild trust following such interventions?
Dialogue is key. Transparent communication, community listening sessions, and visible accountability measures go a long way toward healing and restoring faith in public institutions.
If we imagine an alternative scenario where LA had relied solely on local peacekeeping, what strategies could have been used?
Local leaders could have ramped up mediation teams, engaged community leaders, and deployed social workers alongside police. Seattle's 2020 response, which prioritized dialogue over shows of force, resulted in fewer injuries and arrests.
Do you think technology could play a role in peaceful crowd management?
Definitely. Tools like real-time crowd mapping and communication apps can help organizers and police coordinate, preventing misunderstandings and reducing the likelihood of escalation.
This conversation naturally leads us to personal growth. In times of conflict and uncertainty, what lessons can individuals draw from these large-scale events?
One lesson is the value of resilience, staying true to one's principles, even when systems seem overwhelming. It's also about empathy, recognizing the humanity in all sides and seeking common ground rather than division.
How can someone take actionable steps to foster that resilience and empathy in daily life?
Start with active listening, really hearing others' experiences, especially those different from your own. Volunteering in your community and participating in civic life also strengthens both personal and collective resilience.
To wrap up, what actionable advice would you give listeners who want to be part of positive change following turbulent times like these?
Take initiative, educate yourself on local issues, vote, and hold leaders accountable. Small acts, like joining neighborhood meetings or supporting peaceful dialogue, set a powerful example.
That's incredibly motivating. As we move forward, let's all remember that lasting change starts with individual action, multiplied across our communities.
Absolutely. When we combine courage, compassion, and collaboration, we build societies where everyone feels seen, heard, and protected, no matter the challenge.